host Messiah speaking from Ace Flex 7. Leo's giving you an amazing interview with Johnny. He's going to take away telling a bit about himself. So Johnny, let the people know, where you from, more about you.
A little bit about me. My name is Johnny, as my boy just said. I'm originally from Hawaii. I was raised up in the Sacramento area, a little small city called Yuba City, California. A little bit about myself. I'm a military veteran. We do video games, accessories, and apparel. And I'm just here to have a good time, put in the good work, and enjoy myself for the most part. My nickname is the Mad Scientist because I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I experiment on a lot of different type of things, not only to make things more cost effective, but also to cut corners and make things easier for other people that want to work with me or do business with me.
And that's good to hear. So basically, talking about you do a lot, mad scientist. So we want to get a bit more into that. What are some of the things that you do?
So for me, we work in the video game development space, accessories and apparel. So what I usually tell people is, if there's another way to go about doing something, I always tell them figure it out first. So let's say there's a way to like make clothing, right? So let's say you make an apparel line, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole step-by-step guideline of what you want to do to make an apparel line. It starts off with building like a specs package, then a tech package, then these layouts, there's vision boards, and then you go to manufacturers and you find out all these different types of things, right? What I do is like I'll learn the master process of how to build something, right? And then as I'm going through it and I'm learning it, I'm trying to see what part is what I would consider inefficient or what part can be merged into another section of it in the first place. And then
Okay.
once I learn that type of algorithm or style of how I'm going to do something, I let other people like, hey, look, you can go this way. If you're a meticulous person that's like you want it to be exactly the specification that you're looking for, you go this way. Or if you're a person that's trying to get a product to market and you are like, hey, I already have the majority of the idea ready to go. I just need to do X, Y, and Z. I give them the pretty much the template that I created for somebody else that's ready to expedite the process.
Okay, that's lit. That's lit. That's lit. So pretty much just want to get into that. Like, what inspires you? Because it seems like you got a lot going on, and you're very meticulous about the projects you're doing and the process. So what inspires you to really dig deep?
So realistically, what inspires me is my desire to create meaningful jobs and employment for people. I'm a foster care kid, so I grew up in the foster care system my entire life. You wake up in the morning, you don't know whether you're going to a new family, you don't know what you don't know what's going to happen in life, right?
Yeah.
And when you go through that type of lifestyle, you always want to give people a feeling that you don't want to feel anymore. Some people become vindictive when they get older, and they want people to feel the same way they felt. I'm the polar opposite. The feelings that I had, of wondering what I'm going to do with my life, am I going to be here tomorrow, things like that. I want to make sure that people don't feel that way. So what inspires me is, everybody in America essentially is like two paychecks away from being homeless. Uh, you
Yes.
know, we've all
Hmm.
seen that the inflation has gone constantly up. So I said, what can I do? What can I build that not only would make me money because I don't really need a lot to live. I'm more of a minimalist style person anyway. But what kind of company could I build where I could create, 50, 100, God willing, 1,000, 10,000 jobs that people would have a good sustainable income. They would love to come to work and everybody would be happy and enjoying their life. So my inspiration is more based off of what I feel like is an obligation that I put on myself to what can I do to help a community of people that feel like, everybody doesn't want to be a software engineer. Everybody doesn't want to be in cybersecurity. Everybody doesn't want to work with robots. Some people just want a normal, regular job. And I don't feel like people that want a normal, regular job should be punished by giving a wage that they'd be like, well, you're not good enough to get a livable wage. Well, but this job is essential because you're hiring people to do it. So why not give people a company that's like, hey, customer service representatives, customer care, order placements, stuff like that. It's like, well, why wouldn't those jobs pay a good amount of money? So I feel like as a company that I'm building, I feel like those type of employees deserve, just as much credit, if not more, because they're the frontline person that sees the customer every day. So that's what inspires me is to create a job market for people.
That's what's up. That's actually pretty notable because honestly, not a lot of companies they really don't care. They care only about their bottom line, and so usually those people that's in the front lines, they pretty much the first people to get cut or people to be the less respected throughout the company. So that's pretty dope. So one thing I also want to get into comes to your company. What are some of the projects you are working on?
So currently, we are working on the projects I'm going to give you are about a couple different games.
Okay.
Many people aren't familiar with the old school games. I'm 32. I'll be 33 this year.
Hey,
So the
what's
game,
up?
yeah, man, I'm already past the age of 30, man. So I'm already
Hey,
on the other
yo,
side of that hill.
black don't crack, man.
It don't, man. So what I do is there's a game. If you're familiar with the old school games, the game Zoids, Zoids Battle Legends. A lot of people that aren't familiar with that style game. It's very kind of old school, early 2000s it came out.
Okay,
Uh,
2000. That's not too bad. I'll take more like PS1. I'm
uh,
29, so I'm kind of old.
so I feel like the best era of gaming was actually the GameCube era. That's
Okay.
that's my favorite console to be honest. Uh, So for me, we got four games that are dropping this year. That's the goal. One is a Zoids inspired game. Two is a Mega Man Battle Network Challenge. If you're familiar with that type of game, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Capcom is just releasing it for I think like their like their 10th anniversary or 25th anniversary for the Mega Man series for collection editions. I beat every Mega Man game that's ever came out. I've literally beat them all from the time they came out till now. I've like played almost every single one.
Oh
Um,
wow,
so I'm very familiar with that genre of game, especially.
that's
So
what's up.
I started building those type of games, and what separates my game ideas from what we call the masses, right? Is you'll play a 3D game. Like every game nowadays is pretty much 3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you'll play a 3D game, and you'll notice that you'll play the game for about 15 minutes, right? Within the first 15 minutes of you playing a game, you have a cutscene that's almost a movie that's about 15 minutes in itself.
Yeah.
Like you're almost paying more money for the cutscenes than the actual game itself.
Mm.
So how I look at things now is cutscenes are supposed to be cutscenes originally were a reward for accomplishing a certain task or mission, right? That's a cutscene for.
Mm-hmm.
So what my company does is bringing that back. So let's say you have a 2D video game, right? You have a 2D video game and you go through and you fight the first boss of this level. This first level boss, level one, you fight the boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what my company aspires to do is you play the game in 2D. When you get to the boss scene and you actually win the boss or beat the boss, or it could be before the boss, the the actual game goes into 3D mode. So the cutscene actually shows you what they would look like as a 3D character. So it's like an old school pixelated game. You get to the cutscene brings you to 3D. So it's actually rewarding the brain. Like, okay, we play these 2D pixel games. The game is dope. The levels are long. It's cost effective because it's 2D. But when you come
Mm-hmm.
into the game and get to the level, we can give you an awesome, crazy 3D cutscene trailer of what's happening. And then once you go past the level, it starts you back off on TD and progresses that way.
Okay. All right. So that makes a whole lot of sense because a lot of games try to dupe you. They would show like they would commercialize the cutscenes, and then when you actually get the
Yes,
game, it's like it's not unlike anything that the game is supposed to be about. So that's also a pretty
exactly.
dope way to like incentivize people, which that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. So what when it comes to this company, like how do you get these ideas, so to say? Does it come from experience, or is it something you just like to see in the gaming industry?
So I'm not gonna say it's from experience because I'm a novice at it. I would never tell somebody I'm seasoned at doing this type of stuff.
I got you. I
But
got you.
it comes from the desire to see certain things. I've been a gamer since I was a kid, so I've been a gamer since I was like probably 4. Um, and as I've gotten older, I've actually become more and more irritated with the gaming industry. And my irritation has nothing to do with like the games being bad per se, but there are games that I remember as a child that I never beat. Like I never beat them because it was the levels were so long The game was so like people think about this. Super Mario World 3. Most people never beat that game. The game was so big that they actually gave you a flute to skip levels.
Yeah, that's
Like
pretty
look it up.
big.
Super Mario was such a big game that they gave you flutes to skip levels. I think it had like 36 actual it had 36 actual maps, and each map had about 10 to 20 levels within it. So
Wow.
you're playing all these levels that it made it so crazy that you would get a flute, like a special flute, if you did it in a certain area that would let you skip to certain maps to avoid, because most people couldn't even beat the game all in one go anyway. That's why the flute was actually made for the games. Um, so for me, I've noticed that the games are getting shorter and shorter, and the cutscenes are getting longer and longer, and you're
Hmm.
not even getting a complete game. I can get a game back in the day for $30, and that game will last me years. I can play that game for years.
True.
And nowadays, we're gonna charge you, $80 for the game. Cool, got it. I respect that you gotta make money. The graphics are better, everything's better, but I'm not even getting the full game. You have like 10 different DLC packs that are $10 a piece. I've damn near spent, $180 for a complete game.
That's true. It's like a lot of days now. It's kind of like you buy the game. It's like kind of buying a hamburger with no meat. It's like you just buying the
Right,
buns, and then I get the DLC, which is like the patty, the lettuce, tomatoes, the ketchup,
right.
and it's like that's like you mentioned. Like back in the day, you get a full game by itself, and that was it. Like
Yeah,
everything was really optional. Now these days, it's kind of like you get the game, and it's like some oftentimes they try to make DLC optional, but a lot of times you have to get DLC, or sometimes might even lose an edge in the game. So now you have to
right,
pay to like get an edge. But honestly, I think
right,
that causes the game industry nowadays to actually go down.
right. The game industry has gone down, but the human brain, I was a before I got my degree in business management, I was not very far from getting my degree in psychology. Actually, I think I was like a semester away from having a degree in psychology. And
Nice,
the
nice.
human brain uh takes in so many different patterns, and gets so needy with certain things. For people that have been gaming for years, what I'm telling them, they could give you a graphic. They'll be like, this game is awesome. I said, bro, and let's say the game sucks. This game
Mhm.
sucks. The new game will come out, and we will give that new game another chance. Like they've made
Mm.
$10 games, and you're still walking in there and you're buying the 11th game that sucks. Like that's why the gaming industry is starting to care less and less, because like it doesn't matter what they pump out. We've come into what we call a system where we don't care how bad it is. Example, I'll use phones for example. iPhones never change, but everybody will buy the newest iPhone even if nothing changed about it. I'm a Galaxy person myself. Same thing for me. It don't matter what the Galaxy changes. I'm gonna buy a Galaxy. Even if nothing changes, I'm probably gonna get a new Galaxy. I'll go get one. It's the same thing with the game systems. The game system industry has pretty much figured out, if you were an Xbox gamer, you're not going to PS. If you are a PS gamer, you're not going to Xbox. If you're a Nintendo Wii person or a Nintendo person, you're probably going to stay over there for the rest of your life. So at this point, they're not even trying to acquire new customers. They're just, I already know that there's 100 million people that are buying this PS. So I'm assuming that, let's say 75 million are going to buy it, just on the off chance, right?
Yeah,
Well, all I gotta do is make sure they buy it, and they buy at least a couple of games, and we are a-okay. They're not even trying to acquire new customers because they feel like there's no point. So they're not even gonna, attempt to like keep the customers they already got, because the customers they already got are gamers. So the gamers are gonna just, be subservient to the company.
exactly. And when you think about it though, like you're right. Because once you get, because I've been a PlayStation fan since PS1, and
Right,
I'm damn sure would never get an Xbox. So they kind of also play into the whole like psychology of like the console war, so to say.
right,
So it's kind of like, yeah, like, oh, like you have to stay with the PS4 or the PlayStation, the Xbox. Some people do cross over, but that's kind of rare because only so
right.
many games you could play. So that's also pretty good. But also kind of also like get into Subway into this. Your company is black owned and vet owned. So what
Yes.
was kind of like the trigger to like, to for the military and to shift into game design?
So for me, I joined the military around 22. I was 22 years old when I joined the military. And I was always I was always a gamer. Like as far as like a hardcore gamer, to be honest with you, I never owned a PlayStation before until I got a PlayStation 4. Never owned a PlayStation.
Wow.
I never owned PlayStation. I never owned an Xbox. I never owned any console. The only console I ever owned was
Was
Nintendo.
GameCube.
I
Nintendo, I
was
got you.
yeah, I was N64 to GameCube to Nintendo Wii. I never went into the other genres until I was a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and I had a very very close cousin that had a PlayStation. So I went to his house. I would play PlayStation, play Kingdom Hearts, beat the game, but I never had like a desire to like own one. I mean, I played the old school PlayStation games. Like I mean, a lot of people don't even remember the game Twisted Metal. Like
Oh yeah.
I played Twisted Metal at my cousin's house. Like, yeah, I would go there, I would love it, but I was like, nah. I mean, there's only like four games I like on the PlayStation, so why would I buy a whole console for those four games? When when I was a GameCube person, we had Super Smash Bros. Melee, we had Paper Mario, we had Super Mario World Galaxy. At one point, people will never understand. Nintendo was like killing everybody because everybody loved role playing games.
That's true. That's facts.
Like
That's facts.
Microsoft was never a role playing game company. Neither was Sony. Sony had more so racers and stuff like that. Like they had the Kingdom Hearts was the first real RPG that Sony had that everybody wanted to play. And Microsoft made Xbox. Their claim to fame was Halo. They were a shooting company. That was the only thing that everybody played when they had that system.
That's
So
true.
Nintendo had everybody in a chokehold because everybody still loved Mario. We grew up on it. Everybody loved
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. We grew up on it. Everybody loved Mario Kart. Like there are so many games that kids grew up with that when they went to the GameCube, like I'm still gonna play it. But GameCube never evolved because what happens is we were the first generation of kids that were really in the gaming sphere, where people were actively having games on a day-to-day basis. So where Nintendo decided is they're going to stay with kids, right? Because Nintendo games are aimed towards kids. What Sony and Microsoft did is like, you know what? These kids are, 10, 11, 12. What they decided to do is they're going to grow up with the kids. Like we are in our late 20s, early 30s. Notice that the games are maturing as the kids that were back then are becoming adults. The games are
Yeah.
now almost all are because we are their target demographic. Nintendo's target demographic is still kids. That's why a lot of older generations in my bracket don't really play Nintendo like that unless they have kids.
That's true. I feel with Nintendo, like the only game that they have that kind of still kind of pertains to our generation is like either Pokemon
Yeah,
or Super Smash Brothers,
yeah. Those,
but
those are
not
still my
not
two
really a
games.
lot of yeah.
Or
But
Legend of Zelda. Legend of
Legend of
Zelda's
Zelda, yeah,
but that's a staple. Like nobody's ever gonna say that Legend of Zelda is not the god tier of all role playing games. Everybody and their mama
that's
knows that
true.
that's probably the greatest game that ever came out because without Ocarina of Time, no other game. That was the first real 3D game.
That is true.
So so everything copied that template and I went out from there. So for me, what inspired me to get into this sphere was I saw what Nintendo did. I see why Nintendo is not going to fall off. I see the problem that Sony had. I see the problem that Microsoft had. I got my degree in business management, and I already see some critical errors that both those companies are doing. I'm not going to disclose those for my own personal reasons,
Of course, of
but
course.
like for me, as I'm building my projects, building my companies, I'm looking at all the problems that they've made. And me being a veteran, when I was in the army, I was logistical expert. So, logistics, whether it's shipping, handling, building, running a whole warehouse, I know how to do that front, back, and sideways. I've worked as a warehouse manager, like operations manager of a whole warehouse. I've worked
Nice.
as a delivery driver. I've worked as a warehouse driver. I've been from the top of that mountain down to the bottom, so I understand how logistics work inside and out. So it doesn't really affect me, when people come to me about certain problems. And so me going from the military to get out, when you live in the military, everything's so structured, so rich, so be a certain type of way. And
Yeah.
I was always naturally creative. So when I left the military, I said, I'm never getting a job that is that crazy ever again, where it's strictly, rigid. No, you can't think. Like I said, and my final straw in the military was when I went to Iraq. I deployed to Iraq, so I am a combat veteran. I was like,
Thank
you
you
know
for your
what, I'm good.
service.
Oh, no problem. I said, you know what? I said, I'm good. I'm gonna take my money. I'm gonna go to college. I'm gonna get a degree. I'm gonna do something fun because this is. I was like, this is some bullshit.
I feel that, man. I feel that. So again, thank you for your service, man. For real. I also want to let you. So honestly, that's kind of respect that because as you know, you being part of your company, a lot of CEOs or founders actually don't really have that experience where they know the logistics of A to Z for a process. So you to have that, that's actually really notable, and that's something that should definitely people should be definitely be aware of. And also, just want to kind of want to subway into it. If you actually partner with any company, who would it be and why?
So I have two companies in my perfect world. There are two companies I would partner with. Uh, First company is Amazon, and I've been asked this question before, and somebody asked me like, why would you partner with Amazon if you're a game studio? I said, let me explain.
Hmm.
Uh, Sony, I love Sony. You know what I'm saying? I'm a PS4 fan. They're a company that they're in the business of making games and staying at a status quo at this point, right?
Okay, I can see
My,
that.
my, Microsoft is the same thing. They have a status quo they're trying to maintain and achieve and stay at, which I completely respect, right?
Hmm.
Nintendo, nobody can work with Nintendo. There's a reason. Like Nintendo is Nintendo. Like they've been here before everybody. They're gonna be here long after everybody because they own all their IPs. Nintendo owns everything, so they will never go broke.
Yeah, they very strict about their IP. Very strict.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even want to work with them because I feel like if I work with Nintendo, the thing that's coming out their mouth is like, okay, well, we'll work with you, but we need to own your IP. Like that would be like
Mm.
what I think would happen.
Ooh.
Um, so why would I pick Amazon? I'm gonna tell people something. Are you familiar with the Unity or Unreal Engine?
Yeah, they're like gaming software essentially,
Yeah.
correct?
So yes. So what people don't know about Amazon is Amazon actually does have gaming software. People don't know that. So
Hmm.
it's Amazon. I think it's Amazon Game Server, and I think the other name is Amazon Lumberyard. Those are the names. Like if you go on Amazon Web Services, fun fact for everybody here: uh, Netflix does not have their own servers. It's a fun fact.
Hmm.
Netflix actually uses Amazon servers to host all their movies. That's actually why Netflix is charging y'all more because they're using somebody else's servers. They don't have their own. So, if Amazon increases the price of their servers, Netflix puts that on you. That's why the price increases. Just giving you a heads up now.
And that's valid. I think a couple actually months ago there was like Amazon had like a problem with their it was like a with their servers and like
Yep.
almost everything went down, Netflix
Yep.
included.
Exactly, because what people don't know is a lot of these major Fortune 500 companies, like companies that I would name that you would be like, "Ain't no way." They're on Amazon servers. Like that's why if Amazon crashes, everything else around it just seems to shut down as well. Um, but the reason why I wanted to work with Amazon is because since Amazon is so fresh into the gaming industry, right? They have no identity right now. Amazon has no identity in the gaming space. People in the gaming space don't even recognize Amazon as like a gaming company, right?
True.
So if I were to walk up to Amazon and say, "Hey, look, you guys got the software, I got the ideas, I just need the software to build the game." So what you do with Amazon, right, is you go build your game on like Unity or Unreal Engine, right? You build your games on these engines, and then you can actually migrate them into the Amazon Lumberyard, and it'll convert easily for you. So you can have a whole bunch of games that are just sitting here on the screen, just like how you would have Netflix and you can just scroll through. You would have a whole bunch of games sitting on your Amazon Lumberyard and deploy them rapidly if you really just felt like it. No
Oh
difference.
snap.
So a company like me, let's say I just wanted to do like a gaming, like let's say I just want to make a gaming server for people to just play my games, right? I can say, "Hey,
Hmm.
Amazon, I need to build this mobile application. I need to host all these games here. I need y'all to be able to deploy these. I can literally build a bunch of games, put them on the Amazon server, tell people, hey, go download my app. Amazon will be literally the server, and the Amazon servers are amazing, obviously, because they're hosting Netflix and everybody else's, right? They can deploy the games. The games are dope. It's on great Wi-Fi if you're not in a bad area, and you get to play the games, and it's the most cost-effective way. That's why all these companies are still there. So that's why Amazon will be the first company I will work with, and they're young enough that they haven't been corrupted by stagnation. They're still Amazon's in the phase that they're still trying to build and expand. Every other company is not even trying to build or expand anymore. They're just trying to maintain their status quo.
Oh wow, that's true. With Amazon, like, again, we think about video games with Amazon. You
Yeah,
think you just mostly of shipping and handling stuff.
yeah.
So now, like,
They're trying to grow in different spaces. That's why Amazon always takes on these small companies like Oracle. All these small companies that keep coming out. Amazon people say, "Oh, Amazon's investing in this company." Yes, because Amazon is not in the business of shipping and handling. Amazon is in the business of investing into new companies. If you are a new company with a great idea and you can give them a good pitch deck and a good outline, they will invest the money in you because all it takes is for them to hit one jackpot. Let's say Amazon invested in me today, right? Let's just say 5 years from now, my business takes off and it's worth, let's say, $10 billion, right? If Amazon owned 20% of my company, Amazon's evaluation of the company went up by $2 billion. That is a good investment. They only gave me $1 million to start off with. That's what Amazon is. Amazon throws things at a dartboard. Oh, this is going to stick. I'll work with it. So for me, I will work with Amazon because I know that my chances of being successful are higher because they want to be successful, and for them to be successful, I need to be successful. So that's how I work with them. Two,
major key. No,
the
number
second
two.
reason.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, there's one more company, Capcom. That will be the next company I'll work with.
That's
Uh,
dope.
because Capcom is a stable gaming company. Their game style references what I like. If you're familiar with like the not the GameCube, the Game Boy games, Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Ages, Legend of Zelda: Oracle of Seasons, the
Mm.
Mega Man Battle Network series. Think about all the games
Yep,
that came out on the Game Boy Advance. Most of them were made by Capcom.
that is true.
Capcom is like the staple of 2D minor 3D gaming. So for me, they fall right into the space that I would be in. I would be like, hey, I need you guys to build these games. You guys have the exact game style that I would use for everything. I just need you guys to add 3D into it, and we would have a good deal. So those would be the two companies that, if it was given to me, I would work with those two companies especially.
That's a major key right there. For Amazon and Capcom, I can definitely see that. Amazon having the resources and
Yes.
also new identity with Capcom being a stable, so
Yeah.
definitely a lot to learn from. And they also have the infrastructure as well, which is also pretty dope.
Right.
So do you want to go into? So I met you in the Blur group. So I
Yeah.
just want to let you just want to ask if there could be any Blur group or nerd group out there you would collaborate with, who would it be?
So there are three groups that I've worked with. That's what I worked with IBM. If I had to pick the first one to work with, and I'll put them in order. I'll work with HAG. So HAG is a hip hop, anime, and gaming group. They got about 67,000 people in that group currently. The reason why I would work with HAG first is I actually have a personal relationship with the owners. April and Lowe, they're the owners of HAG. They do hip hop, anime, and gaming. They actually throw parties across the country. So they had parties in Dallas. They've had parties in Houston. They've had parties in Atlanta. So they literally travel the country having anime gaming parties. So like imagine going to a club where everybody's dressed up in cosplay as some, anime character and just, enjoying a blast. That's what they do. So for
Hella
me,
dope. Yeah.
their thing is about building community. So I will work with them because since I do have that personal relationship with them and they
Mm-hmm.
do know me on a personal level, they know that what I'm saying rings true. There's no lack of trust there. Like they know that my word is my bond. I know that their word is their bond. And if something were to happen where they go missing, or I had to go missing for a couple of hours or whatever, like a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, they know for a fact that I'm just in my zone right now, getting stuff handled. That's probably why nobody's heard from me.
It's goodwill. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's goodwill. They already know that I'm a man of my word. I know that they're man and woman of their word. So it's not a constant like we have to be up under each other. So that's why I will work with them first. Just some black nerds. They're a group I would work with. I think the group moderator or owner is Patrick Maxwell. I've talked to him on a couple of occasions. He's pretty cool. I haven't really had a chance to really work with him before, but it's a good group. Another group I would really want to work with, but they would have to be on board with it, is Black Gamers United, because that's strictly a black gamer group. And the reason I would want to work with them is because they're my market I'm trying to sell to. Like, they're the market I'm actually selling my games to. And for me to sell to y'all, I need to know what y'all want, right? Because my gaming style might be different from y'all. So,
True.
you know, if I had 10,000 people in the Black Gamers United group and say, hey, bro, look, I need y'all to go to this link. I need y'all to start taking these polls and start voting. I can actually make games based off of you voting. Then I would be able to be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna make this game tailor made for these 10,000 people. Like, for me, I'm not trying to be a multi-billionaire. I'm not. I don't think I would ever take any more than like a $7 million salary, and that's if I was a billionaire. Like, for me, if somebody said, Johnny, you make a $1 billion in revenue, right? Say I'm making $1 billion every year, right? I can't see me going above 7 million, because my brain would process it's like there's no point for me to go above seven. I can afford everything in the world with $1 million realistically a year. So I will probably end up hiring more customer service representatives. I would probably end up buying out another animation studio or game studio. I would just constantly keep expanding, because I would have no desire to like have that an absorbent amount of money like that, because I live a minimalist lifestyle. So it's like, what would I do with $100 million? Like, nothing would change from $100 million to $7 million. I'd be like, man, look, I said, I can create more jobs with more money, and that helps my community. Because so I'll give you an example in economics, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I had a company that gave out, let's say, $900 million in salary to employees, right? And let's say everybody makes a good way. Say everybody makes like $30 an hour, right? So let's say $30 an hour, you know, 40 hours a week, so $1,200 a month. So, or sorry, $1,200 a week, so like $5,000 a month. So you're making about $60,000 a year. Let's say 60,000. Let's even go maybe $70,000, right? So let's say $70,000 a year, right?
Yeah.
What does that do to the economy? Well, since my company has all these employees that are making $70,000 a year, what are they gonna do? Well, now they're not all like me. They're not minimalists. They're gonna go to the movies. They're gonna travel. They're probably gonna leave the country. They're gonna get passports. They're gonna get new cars. What am I doing for the economy? I'm actually helping the economy grow, because I have people buying stuff.
Exactly.
So that's my ideology when it comes to stuff like that. That's why I operate the way I do when it comes to stuff like that.
That's what's up. Honestly, I think Elon Musk needs to take a take some lessons from you.
Man, some of these dudes, man, they do their own thing. So I can't even speak to them sometimes.
I understand. I understand. But let you know that I just want to check in. So this conversation, this podcast has been amazing so far. So I definitely want to ask, like, what are your goals just for the end of this year? Max, actually, what's your goals for the end of this year, and also 5 years from now? What you plan in regards to this company?
So the goal for the end of this year, if I can get 3 video games done at the end of this year, I will call it a successful year. My goal, realistically, is probably to hit 6 to 10. But I think if I hit three, I'll be pretty happy. The first game will be done probably actually in a couple weeks. I'll have the first mini what I call mini game done in the next like 3 weeks. So it's a basic 3D shooter, nothing too crazy. It'll have 50 levels built into it, so people can start playing instantly, and you'll get about 50 levels out of it.
Nice.
That's one game done. Uh, my biggest goal, which I'm gonna you're actually the first interviewer, so I'm gonna give you the key to the kingdom for a second.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
uh, the biggest goal that I would like to get done by the end of the year, which it probably won't happen. It'll probably happen in late 20. It'll happen probably like beginning 2024 or mid 2024. So my company is currently in the process of building an actual video game console. So that's what we're actually working on behind the scenes. Uh, I'm working with 3 companies right now that's actually developing the prototype for the video game console that we're going to deploy, and it's gonna be very, very robust. It's gonna be classical style, right? It's gonna be real classical. It's not gonna be boring, because I hate boring consoles, right? Um, but it's gonna be free gaming, where you
Mm.
can, like we talked about earlier. you used to be able to buy a video game, play the whole game through, and then game two comes out and you get a full game. The games that last you like months, years, whatever, right? So found out a marketing strategy, and I found out I created on my own a way to. I found out a way for people to play games for free, and at the same time, while they're paying games for free, let the game expand. So the game will be monetized. So you build a video game right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like Johnny. I'm an up and coming black owned video game developer. I just developed my first game. You know, I don't want to put it on Steam because I don't have money for marketing and people aren't gonna buy it because there's like 200 million games on Steam, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so what do you want? So I tell them, hey, you know what? Go put your game on my console real quick, right? So I put your game on my console. People are playing the game for free, right? They bought my console, so they paid for the console. Like the console ain't free. I'm gonna let that know right now. Um, but they played my console, so they're playing the game. The game is already monetized. I'm not gonna tell you how I monetized, but I already monetized the game. I'm not gonna let y'all know that yet.
I got you. I got you.
But the game is monetized, and you, the owner of this game, let's say you, let's say you have your own Facebook business page, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can say, hey, go buy this console or, go play this game. There's a mobile app that can be downloaded on your computer, right? If people are playing the game, you're getting paid per player. So example, let's say I was giving you a penny per player. Let's just say there's some crazy numbers of penny per player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you had 10,000 players, right? 10,000 players. Let's say you made $100 off that, right? Whatever. But let's say that's every time they play it once. So let's say a whole bunch of people play it. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you made $1,000 that month, right? In the contract that you and me would have written out, I would be telling you, like, hey, bro, is this game complete? I'm gonna ask you first, is this game complete or do you need to expand, right? And if you're like, Johnny, I need to expand this game, but I got 10 levels. I was like, okay, cool. Well, your game is monetized and you have deadlines where you have to expand out the game. So
Okay.
the people get the free game. The people get the free game, right? You get the money. Like you're getting the money, and the money that you're getting essentially is paying you to make more games. So what are you doing now? You're self-employed. Let's say you were working a regular 9 to 5 job, right? And let's say you made $6,000 a month on my platform. You know what I'm saying? Well, now you have the option. Do you want to make games full time? Because you're making $6,000 a month on my platform. Or do you want to work a 9 to 5 job? You see how
See,
I'm changing people's destiny. Like, what do you want to do?
that's
Or
actually pretty good.
or you could just be like, hey, Johnny, I'm just gonna hire some employees to do that stuff because I want to work my 9 to 5 because I like to make more money. Then I'll be like, okay, cool. Like, so now you LLC'd yourself. You got 2 employees. Now the employees are building the rest of your games for you, and you're working a 9 to 5 job. Now you're a full-fledged company. But my goal is to give my community the ability to step away from a 9 to 5 job that they're doing, and if they want to be part of something bigger than themselves, to join. Because this ain't about me. This ain't about me. I mean, shoot, I'll live perfectly fine without having a multi-billion-dollar company. I'm not gonna sneeze. I'm not gonna care. But I want to see people live their dreams. I want to see people, work 40 hours a week or 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week and be able to, fly out the country. I want them to be able to, chill and relax the same way that, even though my day, I would rather take the pressure off of y'all because some people aren't meant to handle pressure. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Mm-hmm.
disrespectful. Some people aren't meant to handle pressure, but I've been dealing with pressure my entire life. Like I said, growing up in the environment I'm in, growing up in foster care, so feeling alone most of my life in the first place, and then going to Iraq and then living in a stressful environment where you could die at any moment. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I've been in these stressful environments my entire life, so it's stressful, but it's bearable for me because I'm so used to being uncomfortable. So why would I put somebody that may not be built to handle that type of ordeal? Why not put that pressure on me? I'm like, hey, look, I need you to do one job. You do that job to the best of your ability, and I give you my word that I will make sure that you are taken care of as a human being, whether it be man, woman. transgender, don't matter. I'm here to make sure that you are taken care of. Like that's all I ask.
That's what's up. So yeah, so with this opportunity gives people, I guess, since you mentioned before, choose their destiny. So just give them
That's
more
it.
options. And again, like some people are meant to be, entrepreneurs, CEOs. Some people are meant to be employees, and
Right.
and as long as they're able to at least choose, have that options. I think that's valid, and that's definitely something doing service to the community as well.
I I generally I have a disdain for a lot of business owners, and I'm gonna tell you, and like for me being a business owner myself, uh, I truly hate the business owners that say, I don't like business owners that walk up to people, right, and tell them you need to be a business owner. And here's my problem with that. It's like, bro, if everybody's a business owner, there's no employees, and everybody doesn't want that pressure of being a business owner. This is not glamorous. I've had months where I'm not making no money, like no money for my business at all, and it's like nobody wants to talk about that. I've had times where I make a lot of money just rapidly, right?
Yeah.
And I've had times where I make a lot of money, never. Like, last year, was it last year? Yeah, last year. I forget it's 2023. But last year,
Hmm.
I won 2 grants from Amazon. Amazon paid me $20,000 in grant money because I won the Amazon Grant Accelerator program.
Oh snap! Congrats.
So, like I'm really diligent in what I do. I'm really meticulous on what I do. And, I always tell people, you know, everybody is not in the business of running a business, right?
True.
But everybody should be in the business of owning a business. So let me explain a little bit, okay?
Hmm.
Uh, Anybody can be an owner in a business. Like people don't get that twisted. When you buy a stock in Tesla, Ford, or anything else like that, you are now a part owner of that company. You're part
Exactly.
owner. So I always tell people, if you don't want to own a business, or you don't want to run a business, sorry, if you don't want to run a business, you don't have to, but be an owner. And for me, that's the opportunity that I want to give people at some point within the next 5 years. Because you wanted me to ask you a 5 year plan, so I'm gonna
Hmm.
give you the keys to the kingdom for a second.
All right.
By
We're
the end of
listening.
year five, by the end of year five, I'm going to allow and that's 5 years at the latest. But at the end of year five, my company is going to be diluted by 10 to 20%. And I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say I make $1 million this year, just for the sake of argument, right?
Hmm.
And let's say next year, I have $2 million in console sales. In year three, I'm just, we're looking at $10 million, right? So that's year three. I'm making $10 million a year, right? Everybody that's supported me from day one. So let's say you, for example, or a bunch of other people that have been supporting me from day one, right? I
Hmm.
will go on WeFunder. I'm not sure if you're familiar with WeFunder, but I think we talked about it
Yeah.
slightly at one point. I'm gonna dilute my company by 10 to 20%. Meaning, let's say I make uh $100 million on year four. Let's say something crazy happens, I make $100 million on year four, right? I would dividend that out, meaning that the 10 to 20% that I gave to you guys, the stock shareholders, when I opened up a WeFund and people invest in it, right? 10 to 20 million of that dollar is going to be divided amongst all of you guys that are investors in that company. So I will pay you a dividend. So let's say it was 1,000. Let's just say for some reason 1,000 people, all pay the exact amount of money. Just make it easy numbers. 1,000 people would
Hmm.
have to divide up $20 million. So let's just say 1,000 people might get $2,000 a piece, maybe $20,000 a piece. I'm not good at math right now. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but you might be getting a $20,000 check,
Nice.
right? Because you
Yeah.
invest in the company. So,
Exactly.
my goal is, and this is what I harp you about. My goal is to make everybody a business owner, but not run a business. Like I
So
want you to
you.
invest in stocks and bonds. I want
Hmm.
you to invest in crypto, or I want you to invest in gold and silver. I want you to be a owner of something. You don't have to run it, but I need you to own something. That way you have the power to change your own fate. The government is not going to save you. I keep telling people the government is not, they're not saving you. You see it? You see these minimal taxes that they just gave us back today? Everybody getting like $200 back.
Facts.
So, that just tells you like the government can say, you know what, I'm going to give you $3,000, which is cool. I'll take it. But the government can also say tax season, hey man, look, I'm going to give you $10 back. I've seen people that owe money this year. I'm like, wait, how
Damn.
did this even happen? Trust me, bro. I got a lot of people that have like called me. Like, asking me like, Johnny, I'm fucked up right now. I owe taxes. And I was like, how you owe taxes?
Yeah, the
And then
government
they said,
they give out money, but they want that money back.
yeah,
It's the
well,
price.
they'll give you $2,000, but they're gonna take back about six.
Yeah,
Like now
Uncle
you in
Sam.
debt.
Uncle
Yeah,
Sam
but
wants that money.
yeah, that's how it be, man. That's and my thing for the community is I want people to be financially free. Like like for me, it's all about financial freedom. And when you have to work paycheck to paycheck, or you have a car note, you have insurance, you have all this stuff, you're just a slave. I hate to say it, like you're a slave to something. You're a slave to debt. That sucks.
Exactly.
You wake up on the first of the month. Imagine you wake up on the first of the month. The only thing you have to pay is your mortgage. Everything else is paid off. You only have to pay your mortgage and buy food. That would be the perfect life because now you don't have to work, overtime, extra hours, all the other shit because you want to afford this Mercedes Benz that's like $200,000. Like, bro, you're nuts. I don't know why you're doing this, but whatever.
Exactly, man. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, people do have their own like appetite when it comes to like spending their finances, but regardless, though, if you have the appetite, you gotta learn how to diversify. So
You have to be able to afford it.
exactly. So again, with again working out of five is good, but also again being a part of something that make you income while you sleep. So
Yes,
investing.
yes, bingo.
So that's definitely dope. And also want to check in with you. So we've been talking about a lot of things, but for and foremost, I want to make sure how can people out there support you?
So for me. Spread the word. That's what I tell people. Spread the word. Just spread the word. If you want to be a person that is going to be the first to see what's going on, I tell people to go to my Patreon account. You can, I'll send you the link so you can do with that as you will, right? I tell
Awesome.
people all the time, if you are a supporter on my Patreon, you actually do have a piece of the company. I'm gonna explain it correctly. So you go to my Patreon account. The lowest tier is $5. With that, you will be the first person that tests every game that comes out. You'll always have access to the games. That's not like a major issue, right? Uh, but you also have polls, and by polls, people always talk about they want their voices heard. Because customers always talk about I want my voice to be heard. You've been in my Patreon account before. There's polls everywhere.
Yep, definitely
Like
is.
if you want to see a certain style design done, you want to see a certain game done, you want to see certain. There's a poll for it. Like if somebody said John, if I made a poll and said, "Hey, I will give everybody in this freaking Patreon right now a free tracksuit if everybody votes on this poll and the tracksuit's $80, right? Let's say the tracksuit's $80 and it's $5 to enter my Patreon. I
Mhm.
guarantee you only five people, and I know who exactly what five people are because I love them. Five people are going to vote on that thing, and everybody's going to be like, well, I want a free track. So I said, I told you I was going to give you one if you would have voted. Like, you could have got one. Like, you just told me you didn't want to vote. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I give people the opportunity to really like let their voices be heard. And it's crazy because when I'm on social media, especially when I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all stuff like that, I watch my community, I watch my gamer community, I watch my whole communities, saying like, well, these companies aren't hearing us. And I was like, I said, you're right. And I keep telling them, you're right. They're not hearing you. Why? Because they already know that they have you. They own you. Why would I listen to somebody that I already have control over?
Exactly.
Like
And you mentioned
it sounds messed up, but it's like, do you really listen to people that you already have complete control over? No, you don't listen to them because, like, why would I listen to you? You're going to buy my product anyway. Why would I enhance
exactly.
my product if you're already going to buy it? That's wasting my money. As a business owner, I do understand why those companies don't listen because, like, well, if I already own you and you're already a slave to my product, why do I need to spend extra money to enhance my product if I already know that you're going to buy it? It doesn't
Exactly.
make sense business wise. So for me, I'm like, I see people that want their voice to be heard, and I'm over here like waving my hand, like, bro, like if you want your voice to be heard, I got a whole bunch of stuff for you. I got a bunch of free stuff for you. Like next like next month, my socks came in. Hold on, I think I can show you. Like 2 seconds. Right? 1 second.
Hey, let's see the socks. They fire.
Yeah, well, I'll show you. So I'll show people the socks. Like you got gold and yellow. I grew up. I used to like Pittsburgh Steelers.
Black and
You know,
yellow, black and yellow.
right, red and black. You know, burgundy. black. I love the color black. This is the only ones that aren't black. So they're yellow and blue, and then ladies, you get pink and black. I mean, you can have any color you want, but that was for y'all, really. But like for me, those socks go out next month. Like for all my Patreon subscribers that subscribe for $10 this month or like that, like I gave every one of them a free pair of socks. Like literally, like they're going out like February 1st. They're gonna go out. Uh, biggest thing, Black History Month. Uh, everybody that gets subscribed during my Black History Month, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
if you subscribe to my $20 tier, I mean, I'm probably say 20, but I might go 10. I'll say it like this: if 100 people subscribe at my $10 tier next month, right, for Black History Month, right, I will give everybody a free hat. I will give everybody a free hat. Like I'll give everybody. I don't even care because I got this color and it was camo colors. That's our logo colors, and we got one that's purple and black, and then I'm gonna get another one that's gonna be coke white. But if we don't hit 100, if we don't hit 100 people in February, you know, only the $20 people are gonna get the hat because the way it's actually supposed to be set up, honestly, the way it's supposed to be set up is
Yeah.
anybody that is on the $20 tier gets a free gift every month. So it could be a shirt,
Yeah.
it could be a tracksuit, which I'm actually working on those right now. They're actually done, but they're on their way. It could be a long sleeve, it could be anything. But for Black History Month, if I hit 100 people, I will send everybody one free hat. Like that is it, and realistically, I'm gonna lose money on that. I'm not even gonna lie to you on that. Like I will literally lose money on that. Like the hats themselves cost more than that. I'll literally lose. I'll probably lose like what, like $10 off each hat I send. Realistically, I will lose $10 off each hat I send if I do that.
I feel that, but honestly though,
I can afford it. I mean, I'll take that. I'll take it on the chin for once.
I feel that. So everyone should definitely go and subscribe. Honestly, like we just mentioned before on the podcast, like some people say, "Oh, we're not being heard," or we want more diversity and different stories in gaming industry, anime industry. And right here, you have a black man try to make it happen. So you want diversity, you want good stories, you want to see more black people in media. You have a creator right here. So I recommend again check the Patreon, subscribe if you can. Again, you want your feedback to be heard. This is the best time to do so. So definitely follow, support. You have social media or anything?
No, I don't, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. Because somebody asked me that the other day. So Mark Zuckerberg, man, this dude, on my original profile, right?
Oh yeah,
So I got kicked out of my original profile. My Facebook froze. It kicked me out, and the next thing I know, that my account was completely deleted, like completely off the map. Like people were looking for me, like in my Facebook groups, like my friends like that. And they're like, bro, what happened to your page? I said, my page doesn't even exist anymore. My business pages exist, but they are attached to that account. So I couldn't even like monitor anything anyway. Like I can't run ads and nothing like that. So now
I
I'm
gotcha.
revamping everything. So right now, the only thing I have is a Patreon. My website is going to be up and running in like probably the next like 30, 45 days. Um, but depending on how my Patreon goes for like the next, like, I guess we'll say 60 days, if it goes good, I probably might not ever go to social media again. As far as like on like a real broadcasting spree, like as much as I want to, because for me it's just like social media, it censors me too much. There's too much censorship. I can't speak to my people the way I want to and tell them
True.
what I need to without me being flagged. I've been flagged 100 times for racial weird shit that they keep saying. I was just like, I said, how are you calling me racial when I'm telling my black owned people to like do certain things that's going to benefit them? Well, it's like I said inclusive. I said this isn't. I'm not trying to be inclusive. Like
I
for me,
feel.
I said
Mm-hmm.
my thing is I will do business with anybody. It don't matter what race you are to me to do business with you, right? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
worried about that. But the like I said, the first person that gets to bite at the apple is my community. If I have an apple, the first person that gets to bite at the apple is my community. If they don't want, then yeah, of course, I'll work with somebody else. But I'm giving y'all the first bite at the apple. If you don't want it, I'm gonna be like, okay, cool, I respect it. You know, it's not everybody's cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
But as a businessman, I gotta make moves to make sure that, you know, not only that I eat, but the people that believe in me eat. So, you know, like I said, I mean, I grew up in a very, very diverse area. You know, my area was very, very diverse. So, you know, I've worked with everybody before, whether my cousin's Native American, my other cousin's El Salvadoran. You know, I grew up around a majority like, you know, white East Indians and Spanish. So, you know, I've worked with all these people before. And the funny thing is, and this is what I tell people. I said, I deal with people that are very, very unapologetic, right?
Yeah.
So when I go wild on social medias or like that, you know, you have what they call the virtue signal. Where it's like, bro, you shouldn't do stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll say stuff. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna put myself on blast. I'll say some wild stuff about white people every once in a while. I'm not gonna deny there's nobody here. Like, I'm not gonna deny there's nobody here. I be saying some wild stuff about them. I ain't gonna lie about nobody. But
Mayo
you know,
sapiens.
yeah, like, so what ends up happening is, you know, there's somebody that's on my Facebook or somebody on my social media. I'd be like, bro, you know, they'll come at me, right?
Yeah.
But the the white people I grew up around, the Hispanic people, those people I grew up around, they know me, right? And since they know me, they take offense when other people, you know, call me, like other white people call me racist. Like, my people take real offense to that. Like, ain't no, like, because they already know, like, when I say something, I'm not saying it as a whole population, right? Like, when I say you XYZ are this, right? Or you people need to stop doing XYZ. Everybody that knows me knows I'm not saying as a general population. I'm saying if this shoe fits, you need to wear this right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if I said black men need to stop killing each other, right? Obviously, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about me. I'm not talking about, you know, Joe Schmo over here. Like, I'm not talking about him. Like, obviously, I'm talking about a certain demographic of us that keep doing that. So I'm only talking about them. So if you come at me and be like, you need to stop putting us down, I say, how am I putting us down? I'm telling that group of dudes over there they need to stop doing this. How is that? What does that got to do with you?
Facts, facts.
So,
Like
yeah.
honestly, it's honestly like and in a sense, I feel you. We gotta hold our own people accountable as well. Like so we have to. So we doing something wrong. Like we can still support each other, support each good, but we also gotta know how to hold each other accountable. That we can do better.
And as a African American, well, I'm half and half. I'm black and I'm a Hawaiian, but as a black American, I always tell people, if you want to excel in your community, you you discuss your business in private. Discuss it in private. If you have a Like, it's one thing, like, for example, if I have a homeboy that I know doing some wild bullshit, right? Just wild stuff, right? You're not gonna catch me on Facebook calling my homeboy out. You'll never catch me doing that. You'll see me pick up the phone. You'll see me pull up at his house. Hey, bro, we ain't talk. I need you to stop doing that, bro. Like, I need because I love you. You are like a brother to me. I need you to stop doing this.
I
And that's
feel
the
that.
problem. And that's the problem that I think we have in the community. Where if we have a problem with somebody, instead of us, calling the person, whether it's through Facebook Messenger, Instagram Messenger, cell phones, we have a million ways to call each other now, right?
Facts.
Like, instead of us picking up the phone or sending a message and be like, "Hey, man, look, I don't like that you did that," or a girl that two women that are getting into each other. Hey, love, I don't like that you did that to so and so. Like, instead of us having a regular conversation and be like, "Hey, we need to correct each other," one time something goes bad, we throw it everybody. I was like, bro, why are you tagging this person on social media right now? What are you doing? Like, no, now, don't get me wrong. Now, if this person's just openly ignoring you and doing wild stuff, then yeah, by all means, shoot them. But you at least give them the chance to, or them the chance to address the issue. That's my thing. As long as you give them a chance to address the issue, then we can make something happen. But
Facts.
I think that is the biggest problem in our community. Is like, instead of us, because it doesn't seem sincere from a humanistic standpoint. If you and me had an issue, and instead of me, calling you, messaging you, or talking to you one to one, right? I
Hmm.
go to social media and blast it. It doesn't seem genuine, sincere. You want to fix the problem. It seems like you're trying to give the rest of the world a show, and
Yeah.
I
For
don't like that. I've never liked that. Anytime I've ever had a problem with somebody, even since I was little, I just always went. I've always been one of those type of people. Like even since I was little, if I had a problem with somebody, I always just naturally pull them off to the side. Like, hey, bro, I didn't like that you did that, or I don't feel like you respect me. I give them the chance to just have a one on one. I don't do it in front of anybody. Like there's been times, even when I was like in the sixth grade, like I pulled somebody off to the side, like way after like recess and all stuff like that. And when you're a kid, and I was like, hey man, like I really didn't like that you did that to me. Like real shit. And when you don't put people on blast, if you don't try to make a spectacle of them, a lot of times the answer that you're going to get is the genuine answer. A lot of times, a lot of people that did bad things to me, when I called them out about it behind the scenes, where nobody's like, everybody's not watching us, it's kind of just one on one, people think that we're just having a normal conversation. And since they
Yeah,
think we're having a normal conversation, the person that's listening to me and I'm talking to them, they actually understand where I'm coming from. They're like, oh, this really did affect this person. He's not trying to embarrass me or do anything. He's trying to like, be cool. Okay, yeah. Hey, Johnny, my bad. I didn't think that it would do that or X, Y, Z. But if I would do it in front of like, a whole bunch of girls or a whole bunch of dudes, now he feels like there's a spectacle being like, are you trying to check me? Are you trying to chastise me? Like, why are you doing this in front of everybody? Now,
exactly.
I'm not getting the genuine answer. Now, if I say something to somebody behind the scenes and they give me that weird energy even behind the scenes, oh yeah, bro, I'm gonna fire on you. I'm just gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
fire. So you really like this? Oh, I'm gonna fire on you. So I just want to make sure that before I fire on you, that you really just like. Okay, you really just an asshole. I'm gonna fire on you.
I feel that. Yeah, because basically, when people just start spilling stuff over the internet, you got a lot of people in your business, and it's just like a lot of ego involved. So it's
Right,
like, sometimes people feel they have to amp up, try to show out, that just get talk to me this way, it's trying to be just a straight conversation. But it's off
right,
to the side, normal conversation, a lot of things could be done. And I think that's what we need to prioritize in general.
right.
So
You
yeah,
know, everything's not. My advice to the men, to black men, just all black men, don't matter the age at this point, right? Uh, put your ego at the door. As a black man, don't be afraid to correct do not be afraid to correct another black man, but be tactful as you go about it. Um, just like I ask black men to be receptive of criticism, I also ask black men to be critical on how they approach somebody to show them criticism, right?
facts.
It's a give and take. I want my black men to be like, you know what, that kind of hurt my feelings, but you know what, you're right. I will make an adjustment. I do need change. And I also want my black men that are correcting those people to be like, hey, brother, like I'm only telling this because I care about you as a person, and I want the best for you, and this is why I'm telling you this. If you have two people that are trying to understand each other in the best possible way, even if they may not agree on it, they will try to come to mutual understanding. Be like, you know what, I can understand that. Let me go ahead and fix myself because ain't nothing worse than disappointing somebody that wants better for you.
That's fact. That's a major key right there.
Yeah, I would I want the best for you. Like I hope you would want the best for me. So
Same, of course.
yeah, so when I came on this podcast, I'm like, bro, like you said, like you trying to come up, you ain't Charlamagne the God yet, so you trying to get there, right? Like you
little
trying to get
by
you
little,
trying
little
to
by
get
little.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Capcom. I'm not Sony. But I'm trying to get there. So what would I be like as a man? Just a normal human being to be like, well, you don't really got that following that I really need. So why would I really join your podcast when I don't even have that following I really need? Like we supposed to be like, we both got 10 followers. Well, let's see if we could double each other up. Let's see if we can go get to 20. Like that's how business is supposed to work. But people, the average person is like, well, I only got 10 followers. I need to find a podcast that's got 200,000 followers, and I need him to. Why would he interview you, dog? For what purpose would he need you?
Exactly. Unless you already have kind of like you have no follower. It's like the person with the follower, they trying to like also get their followers up. So it's like it's not mutually beneficial. That's the thing with
Right,
starting out. You're trying to build relationships, and
right.
because a year from now, we both at different places. We'd be like, oh snap, this helmet might come up, and not even that. Be like, oh hey, like we both gotten far. Let's make each other go even farther now. A year or two now later, it's all everything could be again just about being. That's what business is, being beneficial for both parties. That's good business.
And I think that for you, one thing I always want to do is, how I'm gonna teach you guys. I'm gonna teach everybody a trick right now, right? On how the rich get richer. what the rich do to get richer is, let's just say I went to Charlotte. I'll use Charlemagne the God just for fun, for sake of argument. So let's say Charlemagne the God met me yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he interviewed me and I gave him the exact same interview I gave you, right? And let's just say 10 years from now, I blew the hell up, right? I blew up. And you know what happens? Since he was the first person that interviewed me, he could sell my interview to anybody for millions of dollars because he was like, "Oh, I was the first person that ever interviewed that guy." That's how the rich get richer. Because people that are on the bottom, when they reach out to people at the top, if that person at the bottom ever gets rich, that person at the top already knew them, and boom, now he's like, "Well, you know what, bro? I'm finna sell your video to XYZ." Like for me, let's say I make $1 million next year, or let's say I'm on Forbes magazine, right? If Forbes says, "Oh, can we interview you?" I can ask like, "Well, can I pick somebody that can interview me?" And they say, "Yeah, we'll." If I say, "Yeah, this dude interviewed me the first time. I want him to interview me right now." Well, you might be the person that's on the credits of Forbes. Forbes person interviewed blank, and they might put your name in there because I told them I want him to interview me if we're gonna do this.
Exactly.
That's all it is. And people need to
Leg-
come together on that.
and that's facts. Like some people really trying to like clout chase. Like again, just be good to people. That's only what it is. That's only what it is.
That's a few words, but do you have any more questions for me? Like anything that you want to know, or anything? It doesn't have to be about the big company. It could be about anything about, and I mean, in general.
All right. Oh man, I know you're working actually because I actually was going to get into it. You're also working on animation as well.
Yep.
So what made me want to get into also animation? How that's coming along?
So animation is hard, bro. Hard. I'm not gonna lie though, but it is hard body. So I was a overzealous kid when I got out of the military. And what people don't understand is animation is probably the hardest field to get into. It supersedes gaming. It drastically supersedes gaming. Um, to make 1 minute of quality animation, right? Like everybody's seen the show Naruto, right? Everybody's seen it
Yeah.
before. The average budget for a Naruto episode was $2 million per episode.
Shit. Damn.
And then there's other shows that you'll see nowadays that budget for animation, for like good quality animation. A lot of times you're breaking $500,000 an episode on the low end, like on the low end,
Mm.
if you will, because just the animation itself can cost anywhere from $400,000 to $800,000. That's no audio, no voice acting, nothing. That's just strictly the animation at this point.
Mm.
And
Damn.
then what ends up happening is, you know, the reason why a lot of these series don't get season twos, a lot of these reasons that these shows don't get picked up is because they don't have the popularity. And a lot of times the studio can't afford to pick up these series. So
Yeah.
when you go into the animation space, one or two things has to happen. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
you have to pitch it to a studio that's like, I'm gonna pick this up. Netflix
Mm-hmm.
originals, essentially, like Netflix originals will buy, like Netflix buying series like crazy at one point.
Yeah.
Like you could throw shit. You could just be like, man, look, a chipmunk that jumps out of that does skydiving, and Netflix, hey, I'll buy it from you, bro. How much it gonna cost me? Fuck it, whatever. And so that's how it usually happens. But in the animation space, and this is something I had to learn. Start off making comic books. Start off. That's all I tell people. Start off making comic books. Um, Comic books, mangas. It doesn't have to be like super super big. If you are a person that wants to get into this space, right? Make a what I call it's called like. Are you familiar with the term one shot?
Yeah. It's like basically like a one series story.
Yeah,
I'll say one chapter. Basically a story that kind of beginning, middle, end, and
yeah.
no
So
sequel.
you can make a one shot, which could be anywhere from like 20 pages, just one chapter, or you can make a one shot that's like really like a volume long book, right?
Yeah.
Make a one shot, and all you do is promote that one shot. Just promote it. Just give it away for free. Make it downloadable on Webtoons or Tapas or your Patreon, whatever account. Get a lot of people to want to watch it. And I've given this strategy to like a bunch of people before. Somebody had like a Patreon account. I can't remember his Patreon because he's like changed that name like a million times since I've worked with him. Um, but I told everybody, I said, hey, bro, tell everybody to pay $1, right? Just $1. Tell them to read the chapter, right? he had like 10,000 people that were reading his chapter, right?
Oh wow.
Just read because he set up for 30 days free, like a 30 day free section, right? So he
Yeah.
had all these people that are reading this chapter. And then what he ended up doing is he launched a Kickstarter campaign. It was successful. I can't really recall everything about that because it's been years since I've talked to this person. It's like probably like 10 years since I've talked to this person.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah. But what ended up happening is like he picked like somebody was like looking at it like they picked it up. They picked it up and was like, oh yeah, we could do some animation with this. And then he went about his day. If you're not an animator, I don't recommend ever getting into the animation space. I don't ever recommend it. Uh, because the amount of time that it takes to just to find an animator, even for me to find a decent animator, you're charging 40,000. Like Powerhouse Studios or Power Animation Studios, people that do like Seven Deadly Sins stuff like that, they're charging $40,000 per minute.
Yeah, like Mappa, all of them. Yeah.
Yeah, like insanity. But if you are actually trying to get into the animation like business, like you're just that determined, right? Uh, Go to Korea. Definitely go to Korea. They
Gotcha.
actually have the best animation. Uh, Japan doesn't want to tell y'all this, but I'm gonna tell y'all the game. Right? I'm gonna give y'all the game for free. Uh,
We
a
listening.
lot of the a lot of the animation that we see on these TV shows, the anime series, they're actually produced in Korea.
Hmm.
Korea actually has the cheapest cost of animation with the highest results. That goes for animation. That goes for video games as well. I was over in Korea in 2019, actually. Yeah, 2019, I was over in Korea. I was in Korea and Japan for a week. I got a scholarship from college, so they sent me over there for 2 weeks.
Oh, nice.
So if you're trying to really get into the animation space, like you're just determined to like, Johnny, I need to make it. I'll be like, you know what? Get on LinkedIn, reach out to some Korean animation studios or video game studios, ask them how much. I've seen episodes of Korean animation. I think the lowest I ever saw was like 120,000. Uh,
Still
but
a
that's for
lot.
but that's for everything. But that's for
That's
everything
true.
though.
Okay.
So so what I said earlier. So let's say 20 minutes. Let's say $1 million in America, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strictly animation, no nothing. $120,000, let's say in Korea, right? But that's everything included. But you also got to take into account if you're a person that can write a script, $20,000 to $30,000 is a script, so you're already at 90. Like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that you can do that will cut those prices down. If you can cut down, because if you can get everything stripped down except for animation and voice acting, you could probably get it down to like $60,000. I mean, if you're in America, especially say you're in America, right?
Yeah.
If you're like, I need to make a dub animation, right? You could probably get that thing all the way down to $40,000 for an episode, $6,000 for an episode. If you're lucky, I'm not saying it's gonna be god tier animation, just for the sake of argument for the future world, right?
Yeah.
But you might be able to get it down to a good price point, and then you bring it over to the states, and you can get a whole bunch of voice actors that are trying to come up, just like how you and me trying a bunch of voice actors that are trying to come up in the game. Like, hey, bro,
Exactly.
I got an animation series dropping. How much can you pay? I'll pay you $1,000 a day or $2,000 a day. If there's only 10 characters in the episode, you pay $10,000, voice recorded, you're done. You got an episode for about $60,000, maybe on the low end. That's if you have like real low budget animation, no crazy scenes that you can get probably about right there.
Got you. Got you. All right. So yeah. So because animation industry, like even with like something like Demon Slayer, like those top tier animations,
You don't want to know how
man,
much those
those.
cost, man. You don't want. You don't want to know. I promise you, bro. You don't want to know.
That's,
Like,
and it's funny because like people then there's like the CGI type animation that come out, which is a lot cheaper, but everyone hates it. And it's just
yeah.
like, bro, like cost gotta give. Like how it takes a lot of money to make these animation, So honestly, I don't think CGI is that bad. I feel like depending on the anime, I think Chainsaw Man does pretty well mixed with the CGI
So
with like good animation.
CGI is only good mainly it's very subjective to what type of series you're building. So I'll give you an example. If I were to use CGI, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would use CGI for like mecha anime. Like CGI would have been perfect for like Gundam. It would have
Okay.
been perfect
Yeah.
for like Zoids, like mecha, because CGI makes everything look really, really choppy and mechanical.
Yeah.
So for a mechanical series, that would have been perfect. But when you're watching, if you're watching like a Demon Slayer animation that's like more fluid, more
Yeah.
cartoony, CGI doesn't work because it literally takes everything away from like the animation that made this series what it's about.
True. True.
So that's where CGI, like I said, people try to put, like you say, it's cost effective, but man, look, at some point we gotta. It's like the consumer fan base has to really stand in their moral high ground at some point and pretty much say, like, let's say the first 3 episodes are all CGI, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks. The fan base has to go to like these people's like fan pages, like the company, like if there's a series called fucking, let's say Demon Slayer was all CGI, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first 3 episodes, everybody should go to Demon Slayer's official fan page and just say, no, this is not it. Like nobody's watching this. Like nobody watched this. Like you need to really bombard them and be like the fan base, like the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Like we changed that whole character around.
Yeah. I like this with the designs. I saw that. I was like, wow. Especially when a company actually listens because they want to get it right. That's what's powerful as well.
They listen because. So here's I'm gonna tell people what happened with that Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I'm gonna tell you what actually happened. So with Sonic the Hedgehog, that movie, right? They were not targeting us, like our
Mm.
bracket, right? They were targeting the younger bracket of kids that have never seen Sonic the Hedgehog because they were trying to revamp Sonic, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the attempt to revamp Sonic, they forgot that the kids that grew up on Sonic the Hedgehog might want to see that movie. Everybody that was complaining about it was like everybody that was like 25 and up. Everybody that grew up in the Sonic the Hedgehog era was like,
Yeah.
"This is not happening." Like, no, the kids that probably were gonna watch it, we didn't know what originally Sonic looked like. But everybody that was in our age was like, "No, you guys can like go to hell, dog. Like, nobody's gonna buy this. I'm not taking my kid to watch this if this ain't even about my
Exactly.
kids anymore. This is about me." Like this ain't
That's
about my
facts.
kids. Like this is about me watching this movie, and we have to carry that with everything we do. Like it don't matter. Like you know, we have to make sure that we hold these companies accountable. These companies make billions upon trillions of dollars every year, and they're going to take our money and charge us a premium price. And I demand and I am deserved a premium product.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's kind of what it comes down to. And even for my company, the reason why it's taken me so long to create my own video game consoles because the stuff that I want in it is so not expensive, but I have a very, very specific set of guidelines that I have to go
Mm-hmm.
by that I have decided because I know it's going to be what's best for the company and I know it's going to be what's best for the consumer. And I'm able to build upon that template. Uh, like I said, like I had a poll earlier, right? I had a poll in my Patreon earlier, and I asked, I said, what would you rather have? Would you rather have a USB controller, aka, like you plug the USB into the console and go from there, or would you rather have a Bluetooth controller? And I even go in depth on why I asked, because some people are like, well, I want Bluetooth, right? Then naturally you would say Bluetooth, right? But I also gave them the idea, like, well, here's why I'm offering USB because if I use a USB controller, right? I can integrate any console in any controller in the console. So let's say you have a GameCube controller, you have an Xbox controller, or sorry, yeah, you got GameCube, Xbox, Sony, or whatever controller like is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're a person, let's say you like the Xbox controller and I like the game controller, and let's say you would be wanting to play fucking Super Smash Bros. Melee, right? Let's say we want to play that game, right? I'm allowing you the ability to play on the controller that makes you feel the best. There's
Yeah.
no possible like we are literally 100% even. The controllers are operating the exact same. I feel comfortable with this one. You feel comfortable with this one. We can literally play the same exact game with different controllers, and now we get to see who's better. That's it. Versus Bluetooth is a little different because with Bluetooth, I would actually have to like integrate everything into this console, right?
Yeah.
Like I would have to make sure that every controller, you know how hard it is to make every controller across a spectrum compatible with one system.
Time consuming, inexpensive.
Expensive, man. Fuck time consuming. That's expensive. I don't even care about the time. I'm care about the money. Like, I'm like, bro, no, ain't no way. But with a USB controller, as long as they're on the same GHZs, it doesn't matter. So, if I had an Xbox controller, a GameCube controller, a PS4, and all these controllers, and they're all on 2.5 GHs, right? Well, they're all going to be compatible. It doesn't matter. But for Bluetooth, it's very, very meticulous. Like, no, we're not on the same frequency. That's why Xbox controllers don't link to PS and PS don't link to Xbox. They're
Makes
not on the
sense.
same
Makes sense.
frequency.
That makes sense.
Like,
That makes sense.
like for me, and I've had to explain to people all the time, I am not an expert on anything as far as like implementation. I read a lot of books. I mean, I read like probably 2 or 3 books a month. I read business books, currency books, like how digital currencies work. I read
Hmm.
books on gold and silver. I read books on stocks. I read books on real estate. I read books on the gaming industry. I read books on everything. I read daily reports on what's going on in the world. So I read all this stuff religiously. When people ask me like, "Well, what do you do for a living?" I say, "I run a company." But I personally cannot create a video game, right? I can't personally create one.
Yeah.
I personally can't design clothes, but I could tell you the specs on how to go about it. I could tell you all that stuff like that. I just don't have the physical skill, but I have the technical knowledge on how to develop and how I would go about it.
Exactly. So that's what you just outsource. You know how I want
Yeah,
to. You know how I want to be done, and you just get the
yes.
people to get it done.
I just get the people to do it for me. And I tell people all the time, if you want to own a company, you can either have the skill to do it, which I always admire people that have the skill to do it, or you have to have the knowledge to do it. AKA, you have to know what to ask. So when it comes to being a business owner, if you want to make like a vending machine, right? You want to own a vending machine company. You have to know, well, what type of vending machine do you want? What do you want to sell? And you have to know what type of vending machines you're looking for, right? Because if you don't, you go to these vendors that sell vending machines. I'm a brought you a vending machine to sell. They might sell you the most expensive one that's like $80,000. It's not gonna make you a dollar because you don't know where to place it. Or they're gonna sell you one that takes cash only, and you live in a city where everybody uses fucking debit cards. Like, no, well, you're not gonna
Exactly.
make anything now. So you have to know what you want, know what to ask, and know how to ask for it.
Exactly. And that's like the duties of like the entrepreneur or CEO,
Right.
which is why like again, not some people could learn have is like a learning curve. Everybody have their own like beginning point. Also, some
Right.
people just don't want to deal with it. That's what we got
And
people on.
I don't recommend this on my worst enemies. Like, bro, I'm telling you, like, I don't recommend entrepreneurship on my worst enemies, man, because like I tell people, the joy of working a 9 to 5 job, which I have worked most of my life. I still work to this day. Because I have to finish funding the rest of my projects for the year. But the joy of punching a 9 to 5 is, when you go to work at 9, you do your job. When you go home, you got a guaranteed paycheck because you clocked in the hours, and then you don't have to work. When you leave the job, you leave the job there. As an entrepreneur, you go to work. You're there before everybody gets there, right? You're there after everybody leaves. When everybody's off at 7 o'clock, you're still at work until 10. And when you go home, your brain is so used to working, you're still thinking about the work, even though you're at home. Like it's
Facts.
like when you go home from a regular job, you play the game, you watch TV, you chill with your wife, chill with your husband, you chill with your cats or whatever you got, you get to relax. But when you're an entrepreneur, when you go home, your brain doesn't automatically turn off because it's like, well, money's on the line. You're like, damn, I gotta check these invoices, man. Did I get paid? Did I make any money today? Like your brain don't operate on that. It's like hourly wages is a more peaceful life, or salary rates a more peaceful life. Entrepreneurship is a more stressful life because every month is different. You might have a great month or a bad month. And you have to learn, to mediate that.
Exactly. Like you don't know what the future holds, so we pretty much
Yeah.
just adjusting where you can.
Yeah, save as much money as you can because you don't know when the rainy day is going. That rainy day might hit tomorrow and be like, damn, I ain't made money in 3 weeks, and you made $10,000 your first month. You ain't made money in 3 months. Like, damn, I really only made. I got penny pinch. You know what I'm saying? Now I gotta go get a Little Caesars pizza to eat.
Yeah, man. That's definitely It's definitely a life. But like people like the glory of the successful entrepreneur. You know, they see the end result, but a lot of times they don't know the story behind it.
Nah, man. I'll give everybody the game. I'll be honest about it. Like I've had a lot of sleepless nights. I'm not gonna lie about it. I've had nights where I'm so stressed out that I shed tears just not anger but frustration. You know,
Yeah.
you can't get numbers to meet. You're missing deadlines. You know, some people like burn the bridge with you. You know, some people run off on money with you. There's just so many things that can go wrong, and it does stress you out. It does bring you to tears. It does make you angry and frustrated. And people that are entrepreneurs. Well, I don't call them entrepreneurs. I'm gonna be real. I call them entrepreneurs.
Mm.
WANT entrepreneurs. I said those type of people they'll say, they talk about all this glamorous lifestyle and stuff like that. I was like, bro, it's not glamorous, it's not a lifestyle. If you were just that happy, either one, you hit the jackpot of a business, or two, you're not doing it right. You ain't
That's
doing it right.
facts.
I said, because, and this is something I said. I remember I had told somebody to their face. I said, so you're telling me that you just got it made like that? You got it made like that? You who makes, let's say, $250,000 a year, right? No disrespect, you made a lot of money a year. So you just saying you have the perfect life, right? No stress, no nothing. But somehow Jeff Bezos, who made who's worth $200 billion, is stressed out and bald. But somehow you found out, yeah, so you doing something wrong, man. Something's wrong here. Why is he stressed out, but he worth 2 bills and you ain't, and you only make it 250? Like, how are you? I'm
Facts.
confused here. It's either that you have a hands off business that you're not really too desired about making a certain amount of money, or there's something else going on. Like maybe it's a part time job. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things.
Mm-hmm.
That's
That
all.
was.
I've had like entrepreneurs, like, because I do business consultancy because I have my degree in business. So people do come to me and ask me about like business, like people that have their own business that are trying to make it more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell them, I said, look, if you can automate something, automate it. If you can't, if
Yeah.
possible, automate it. And then I also tell them, where do you see your business? Like, really ask yourself, where do you see your business at? Do you see yourself as a small home business, which is nothing wrong with that? If you see yourself, I'm going to be the best candy store in whatever city, right? Or are you trying to be statewide? You're trying to be national? You're trying to be worldwide? Because if you don't tell me where you want to go, I can't tell you if you're doing it right or wrong.
True.
So, I have a, like, one thing I think is cute. I'm gonna call out the women for a second. I love the bakery industry that every girl's getting into, where they're baking cakes and cupcakes. I ain't gonna hold nobody, man. Hey, them girls are making me go poor, dog. Like, I be seeing like a bunch of cute girls that like make cupcakes or bake cakes and brownies and all that other stuff like
Well, they'd
that.
be late. They'll be good. There was some good kicks though.
I'd be like, man, I said I will have just bought a cake probably from somebody else, and somebody else would be like, Johnny, you need to buy my cake for me. I was like, man, get over here. I'm not trying to go broke dealing with y'all, man. Like, but I love it because it's creative. I like
Yeah.
creativity. And so I tell people all the time, I remember there's a one girl that she does cakes right now, right? And she was like, I'm trying to expand out. Like, she reached out to me. She's like, Johnny, I'm trying to expand out. What I gotta do? I said, I got you, baby girl. What you need? And she's like, well, what do I need to do to separate myself from? Yeah, and she a little from the trenches. I'll say it like that.
I got you.
Uh, she said, "What you trying to do to separate myself from the rest of these girls?" I said, "All right." I said, "Okay." So we had a meeting, and I sent her to one of the vendors I used to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she makes cupcakes and cookies and stuff like that, right? So I got her in contact with a vendor that makes like coffee. So he's a coffee vendor, and he has a couple of different types of coffee. So he had a couple of different flavors that I used to try because I used to order from him directly just to custom coffee. I'm bougie, so if I drink coffee, it's something random. Um, so he had a couple. Like, one was like a French toast coffee, where
Mm-hmm.
it was like
Ooh.
really really sweet and French toast kind of flavoring, and then another one was a cinnamon swirl, like cinnamon swirl coffee.
Got a coffee connoisseur here.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, bro, like, when it comes to coffee, like, I don't drink it a lot, but when I do, like, it's never like black and white. Man, look, I mean, it's probably from somebody I ordered from like over in Europe or something like that, and I'm over here just tasting it, or somebody from upstate New York that has their own coffee business that does that stuff. Um,
That's what's up. That's what's up.
so I got her in contact with him. So she bought like stuff from him, right? So when she was starting to sell it, she started upcharging. So she was like, "Oh, if you get if you buy a 12 pack, I throw you in a cup of French toast coffee." And it was like with certain type of cakes like that. Like the coffee itself was like when you order it in bulk, it's like $1, maybe 75 cents per cup. If you depend on how big a cup you want, it's like 75 cents a cup. And she would upcharge like 5, 6, $7, right? You go to
Mm.
Starbucks, you're paying $5 anyway, right?
Yeah.
So she was charging like I think like $4, $5. Plus you get the cupcakes and all this stuff like that. And she started separating stuff. And then, she's slowly expanding outward to where, she's gonna have her own vending machines with like
Ooh.
specific like chocolates and stuff like that she's like custom getting done over because you gotta understand if you're trying to be something when you if like I for and this is for women that like are in the bakery industry, but it can be applied to anybody else. You decide to be a sweet, like a sweet treats, right? Like sweet treats, boom. That's what you're doing. So you add coffee or some type of drink to it, right? Boom. So you expanded your brand, right? So you went
Mm-hmm.
from so you went from perishable goods, essentially like something that you have to eat right then and there within a certain time frame, right? You added coffee, which is also another perishable good, right? So those two things are perishable. Then you added in a vending machine. So, basically vending machine. And with that vending machine, if you have your logo on, be like this, like, well, this is my company's brand. So instead of you putting chips, soda, and stuff like that in the vending machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
You end up putting like your custom drinks in there, like your custom cold drinks that you could get vendors that'll make your own specific like protein shakes, or you could put your custom chocolates and stuff like that as you ordered, put them in little bags. Like you remember the candy store where you would just go in there and get a dump of something, put it in there, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, now you have it in your vending machine. Like, oh, you have all these different candies that are your brand name only. So now instead of you like going to the store buying a whole bunch of pack of chips and stuff like that, you start no, it's all custom stuff. Like you can like people will be like, you know what, I'm feeling like I want you know, orange chocolate covered orange, right? Well,
Mm-hmm.
shoot. If you're at a salon or something like that, or a girl's getting her hair done, she's like, let me go ahead and get some chocolate from this little salon right here, right quick. Like, like you gotta think like your customers. Like my ex, me and her are really cool. Like we were talking the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "Well, if she's like, why would you not put like a chocolate machine in like a salon where women are always there, and women are getting their nails done, doing all this other stuff like that. Well, if you put like a vending machine up in there that's like chocolate or sweets, stuff like that. Women are gonna charge. They're already paying $400 for a hairstyle, bro. They're
So,
gonna automatically take. They're gonna pay the extra $10 for that chocolate over there, dog. They're already here.
that's
They're
right.
already here. You've already spent $400, baby girl. You might as well go ahead and just enjoy the whole thing. You might as well get the chocolate, get the car. You might as well do everything at this point.
That's valid. That's valid.
I mean, it's kind of like us, like as men. When we go, like, let's say we gotta get a brand new car, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we go get a brand new car, but what do we do? Man, look, let me go ahead and get them heated seats up in there. Let me make sure that touchscreen deck is in there. Like, I'm already spending $15,000. I might as well go to 20.
Just,
Like, I
just
might as
goes
well go
that
to 20.
exactly. Let's go all out.
Right? Because your car payments is like $300. Well, if I add the extra stuff for $5,000, $350. So I get extra. Yeah, I might as well go all the way out. It's extra $50. I mean, I'm already at $300. I might as well just go with the extra $50, dog. And just go ahead. Just jack it up. Go ahead. I mean,
that's
it's consumerism, and
that
it's
is
nothing wrong with it. But it's just like if you're already here, I might as well go on ahead and knock that out.
exactly like women love
But
chocolate, so it's like you're already at the salon. Like, might as
right,
well just get it right there.
like for you, and my biggest advice for you as a podcaster, are you familiar with the company Restream?
I haven't done. I heard about it, but I've done like research on them.
So if you're a podcaster, uh, Restream, I think it's Restream, StreamYard's another one.
Stream
Uh,
laws, yeah.
yeah, those are free actually that you could do for podcasting.
Mm.
And also, you don't need any equipment or nothing like that to set up. They have so much integrations in them that you can do whatever you want with them and customization work like that. Uh, I think that would be your best bet. And I want you to take this advice. You know, start taking on advertisements from people.
Hmm.
Like start asking people like, "Hey, bro, just you don't have to charge anybody. Be like, hey, bro, I'm about to go live on StreamYard. I mean, you could charge people. Like, I'm about to go live on StreamYard. If you want your banner in the back, right, like in the back of
Yeah.
the web like that, for any video I put the banner, I was like, hey, give me like $5 or $1, $10 or like that. I'll put you in my background, my StreamYard, and I'll shout you out on my commercial breaks. Because you gotta understand, that's what most of these major podcasters are doing. Like they just had
Yeah.
like they had major endorsements, right? Obviously, you have a major endorsement, but if you are a person that's starting off and you're like, hey, bro, I'll shout you out for like a couple dollars here and there, and you're trying to build your platform over like that, well, you don't know where you're gonna be at 5 years from now, right?
Sure.
Like we see videos that are blown. We see videos from like 30 years ago that are blowing up right now.
That's true.
So, this video, a video you do tomorrow and you shout out somebody like two 2 years from now or maybe 6 months from now, let's say you just go viral for something. And everybody's like, oh, I want to watch all his videos. Well, now this person that paid you $10 is getting all this crazy revenue because they see this ad that you're shouting out. And you as a business owner and what you're doing, you need to emphasize that. Like, how many videos have we seen that's gone viral that were like 7 years old? Nobody even watches the video now; it's going viral. Well, this $10 investment in this video could happen. I'm doing these interviews. I'm doing X, Y, Z. Let's make it happen. And I think that would be a good marketing strategy for you personally.
That's facts.
It's a lot of money does not mean that it's beneficial to you at that time frame.
That's facts. That's true.
That's some that's something I wanted to let you know because a lot of people that are trying to be professional business owners like that, they feel like the more expensive the price, the better the equipment, the better the project, and it's like which is true to a point. But you gotta ask yourself, do I need all these? It's kind of like for $1,000, I give you this, 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 this. I was like, but you only need the first two things. It's like, why are you paying $1,000? You only need two things. Like
Exactly.
the extra stuff you don't need. I was like, hey, bro, like I only need these two things. Oh, I can't do that package. Well, I don't not. Well, I'm not paying $1,000 for 18 extra things I'm not going to use.
That's facts. That's facts. That's oh man.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
I
man.
be trying to. I try to give the game as best I can because
Thanks, bro.
I've worked in so many fields, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, I worked in the army. I worked at UPS. I worked at Amazon. I worked at FedEx. I worked at the Veterans Administration's office. I worked at gyms. I worked everywhere from manager to low levels. I've done grant writing competitions where I've won grant writing competitions. I helped a girl with her grant writing competition. She took second when I helped her with her stuff.
Oh
Um,
snap. That's what's up.
so yeah, I've worked with a lot. I've worked with a lot of people, even down to TV network people. Um, you know, the girl I used to talk to, we still talk on occasion. Like we're really cool with. She cool people. She used to work at CNBC.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
so for me, I have a lot of connections and stuff like that, and I've soaked up so much information. So when I get on these podcasts, I really want to. It's not in the idea I want to flex on people. It's more so the idea that I want to give everybody as much free information as I can because
Yeah.
people go to college for hundreds, thousands of dollars to gain stuff that I'm just giving y'all for free. And I'll be like, bro, look, college, unless you're trying to be like a nurse, a doctor, computer science, like a lot of these fields, I'm like, bro, you don't need to go to college, dog. You don't need to go to college.
That's facts. That's facts.
That's what I went. I tell people I went to college, so you don't have to. Like for the business field.
Yeah.
Like I went to college. I read these books. I do all this stuff, so you don't have to. You will sit in. I sat in classes for like thousands of hours to soak up all this information, and I'm giving you the gist of like pretty much of all those hours. I can sum those hours up into like 30 minutes to like 5 hours at a time, and save you thousands of dollars, thousands of time of wasted hours, and just be like, Johnny, I have questions. What do you want to know? Like, I'm not gonna give you like the book answer, which is like, you see the book answer. The book answer like 16 pages, and I'm like, you mean this? And it's like 3 words.
Facts. Yeah, man. That's definitely honestly. even from his podcast, I got a whole lot of knowledge. I'm like, damn, different perspective on things, especially like these business wise, podcast wise. So honestly, this has been it's like almost like a crash course, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's a you as a young African American, young black man, as I said, you know, when you put and this is all I ever ask of anybody, any man or woman that comes in my contact with me, right? If if I see you reach out and put forth any type of efforts, any just a little bit of effort, right? I'll give you the key to drive the car. Like I just need to know that you're going to take the initiative to do it, right? And I think that that's all most of us need. I think everybody. I think if everybody had one person that was just like, you know what, I see that you're trying. Uh, I'm gonna give you the information. I hope it's useful. If it's not, I wanted to at least know I tried to give you something of. I want to give when I get on a podcast. I want to give somebody something of value. I don't want to brag about what
Yeah,
I do, stuff like that. I want to give y'all something of value that you guys can take and be like, you know what, I think this will benefit somebody
that's facts. And
because
this
that's all
definitely
we have.
will.
That's all it is. Because you know when you and me hit our 40s, right? There's going to be kids in their 20s that they need guidance. And we
Exactly.
are going to be the adults that are going to be like, you know what? Hey, young blood, I'm going to talk to you. I want y'all to be. If I could make, if I became rich at 40, right? I became wealthy at 40. If I found a 20-year-old kid, I would want that 20-year-old kid to be rich by 30. I want him to pass me by 10 years. I want you to be better than me. I want you to be the position I'm in now. I want you in this position way before then because you'll get to
Fact.
enjoy it longer.
Exactly. And, each one teach one.
That's it. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. It's easy.
Facts. Man, so yeah, so I still I got a lot. This was an amazing interview. I still got a lot of work to do, but in the
Oh
year
yeah,
goes. In the year goes, man. Try to in-person interview,
please.
more interviews. Eventually, I think more towards the end of the year, just start using more of those resources like scripting and stuff like that. But right now, just
Right.
get more comfortable interviewing, get into live interviews, and just start from there. Thank you, Johnny, for coming through on a podcast and giving everyone a whole heap of information. Everyone's listening out there, definitely follow him on his And I'll probably take a little break,
Yeah,
and
you could.
I'm gonna do some writing actually. 'Cause I'm also working on a comic as well.
Yeah, if you need help drafting up the comments, just let me know. All right, brother.
All right, definitely, man. All right, yo, it was a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
All right, brother. You take care.
Definitely, you too, later.
All right.